The Georgians were a bit hurt by the manner of their defeat last week. Do you expect a bit of a backlash from them this time round?
Yeah, I expect an improved performance. I think what you've seen from probably every team that's played in the World Cup warm-up matches, that the first game they haven't been totally at speed with where they want to be. So I'm sure Georgia will be better for that experience of playing one game. They'll know their opposition better, and what we've seen from them prior to that game, and what we saw within that game, is they have some very powerful ball carriers. They have an excellent set piece and some good backline players. So we were expecting a real tough game tomorrow night.
From your perspective, what are the most important things that you want from your team going out tomorrow night?
To build on last week, so we've identified areas where we can improve in attack and defence, to build on some good work in the set piece against a real challenge that we have in that area, and obviously to get through the game with confidence, with a team that has taken another step towards playing the full potential, and hopefully a fully fit group after 80 minutes.
How close are you to knowing your first 15 for the first game of the World Cup?
I suppose reasonably close. We've seen through training, we've seen through games, we've obviously seen what the players have done previously for Scotland on what would look like a strong 15, a strong 23 for Ireland. But there are positions that are still very competitive. There are blends that we're still looking at that might suit a team like Ireland, but maybe not suit a team like Samoa or Russia or Japan. So selection hasn't been decided, but certainly a lot of players have put their hands up to be in that game.
What are the two players there who have hardly played and Donny, who's obviously not played at all? What are you looking for from them in this match?
Well, for them is to get that one game under the belts, to realise that if they did start against Ireland, that it's not the first game of the season. It's great that we have got Johnny back, other players who've returned from injury. We had Tommy Seymour and Blade Thompson who missed last week. Duncan Taylor hasn't been available the last 2 weekends. I think that's everyone. So that's a bonus. It means that these players get to play before we get into 2 weeks preparation out in Japan.
A couple of players on the bench who aren't travelling to Japan. What have you said to them about what this means as far as concerned?
Well, for Grant, it's another opportunity to play for Scotland. He's had 2 caps off the bench. He's been very confident and assured when he's came off the bench. He's worked really well in training. He's probably our most improved player over the last month, and he knows it was a really good achievement to get into the squad, and he's pushed really hard for a place in that 31. So he gets another opportunity to play well. For Magnus, it's a different story. He's not played since we had a training run against Edinburgh. This will be his first game of the season, so it'll be great to see how well he's able to perform after that injury. And for both of the players and other players that missed out in selection, there will be injuries over the next 4 or 5 games, and I'm including this game tomorrow night as one of those games. So they've got to show us that they're in the best physical condition and playing well to step up if called upon.
Fraser, you get that another win under your belt and keep that momentum building into the team.
Yeah, win and improved performance as well. So there's a lot of elements that go into a winning performance, elements that we look at after a game. So the process of how to put teams under pressure, how to execute our attack, how we defend, we look at all those areas. So improvement from last week is what we'll look for. And also we look for ways to win games. So our players have shown that 2 weeks ago against France when they had to come behind and win. And then last week with their start and their accuracy and their intensity, and that first 20 minutes, that gave us a great platform to win.
Fraser Brown won't have played by the time he gets on play on Monday. Do you have any plans to have a sort of last minute fitness check on, just to check that he is progressing at the right speed?
No, because we've seen him train with the group now for the last week. We have a 10-day preparation camp again in Japan. We'll obviously have to get over jet lag and start to acclimatise with the weather. But we'll be training pretty hard come next weekend. Then we'll get into test week, and the intensity of training we have in test week varies, and we'll see where Fraser is at the weekend. George has an opportunity tomorrow night from the start to say, right, I've got to be involved in that 23 because I'm playing really well, and Fraser hasn't had a game. But speaking about Fraser, we've seen this year at Glasgow that when he came back from a period out injured, he's gone back right at the level that he finished playing, and he's an experienced player too. So he's someone that if he gets through next week's training, he'd be a strong contender to be in that 23.
Gregor, your captain tomorrow night was a little bit anxious this time last week about not making the squad. First of all, was he right to be anxious? And secondly, what does he bring on the pitch and off the pitch? Because obviously he's a big personality.
Well, he was saying his farewells to everyone on Wednesday night. We had one-on-one meeting, so it was Tuesday night before we headed to Georgia, and he was leaving the meeting with the coaches saying, anything else for me? And we said no. And then we could hear him outside the meeting room saying, well, this might be that's me, guys. I just want to say bye now. And we were obviously, whether we were decided or not decided, we'd been fair to our players to say we're going to wait until the weekend before you get a phone call, whether you're in or out the group. Ryan did really well in the French game. You appreciate Ryan when he's here, and when he's not here as well, you appreciate what he brings to the group. During a week, he combines intelligence and talks really well about the rugby aspects. He's one of our tactical leaders. He brings an edge physically when he plays for Scotland. And then outside of the rugby area, he's excellent to keep the energy and the mood a positive one. Last Monday night, it was him that was organising everybody to play a game that they play, Mafia. So to have someone in the group that thinks about the rugby but also thinks about the harmony of the group is important. All those things are great, but you've got to play well to get yourself into the 31, and he did that against France. I'm looking forward to him being captain. I think he's certainly one of our leaders when he's not a captain or vice captain. He's captained Glasgow the last couple of seasons, so he's someone who'll put 100% into this game tomorrow night, and people will follow by his example.
It's important to have those, especially away in Japan, long time, have those ebullient characters knocking around the hotel.
It is. The relationships between the players are really important, that they become a strong squad. The energy that we can have when it's 12 days between games or people are starting to miss home, that they don't start thinking about home too much, and they're enjoying what Japan brings and what being in that group of their friends means to them. And Ryan's really important for that. But he's first and foremost selected for his rugby ability.
Are you making sure that his father doesn't stay in the hotel?
I don't know. I'm sure he'll pop up at some point.
He's expecting Wilson is expecting you to say to him, under no circumstances is your father staying in the hotel.
I don't think he stays in the hotels anymore. I think that was my first season at Glasgow. We didn't see him staying in the team hotel. Probably because he would be drinking with the coaches till late at night. But he's even more of a character than Ryan and his mum and the whole family. They're great company, and it'll be great to see them and other families in Japan.
Getting back to tomorrow night, will there be a temptation to get guys off the pitch early for safety's sake, or would that be entirely resisted and treat this game just like any other?
We'll see. I think it's important we use all the 23. We've done that consistently through these 3 games. We've brought players on quite early in games, and there's combinations we still want to look at. But sometimes your plans change if we get an injury in another area of the field. But we've got 2 centres on the bench. The preference is that they come on at centre, Peter and Chris, who played together 2 weeks ago. But if Peter has to come on stand off and Chris has to come on the wing, then they both cover those positions. But yes, we'll be looking to get all the subs on some point early in the second half.
Looking ahead to Japan, what's your sort of final message to your players before they go out in their final warm-up game?
Well, I've given my final message really. I do one more talk with them tomorrow, but today as coaches we said a couple of things briefly about Georgia, and then we passed it on to the players. And what I said to the squad is that we can't take this game lightly. We put a lot of hard work into last week's performance. We analysed the opposition. We focused as well on what we need to do to win away from home, and it came out. But it's not going to come out in a performance if we are complacent in any way. Georgia, less than 2 years ago, played at the Principality Stadium against Wales and lost by 7 points. And in the last 5 minutes of that game, Wales were on their line defending, got a yellow card, gave away multiple penalties, went down to uncontested scrums. So Georgia will come here doing all they can to produce a result, a really historic result for them, and they have the players and the power to upset any team in the world.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Good luck as well.
Thank you. Cheers. Thanks.